Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning, Chuck. How are you?
Good. Realtor Avery. I gotta get in the habit. Good morning, Realtor Avery.
It's okay.
In Hamburg. Your Hamburg office. You're crushing it today.
Yeah,
Oh,
lots of things happening.
okay. All right.
All the things are not good things, but things are
Hmm.
happening, which is
Uh,
better than nothing happening,
all
right?
right.
I have the opportunity to see our furnace repairman guy again, right? So that's exciting. He
Okay.
hasn't been here in a little while, so it's nice to see him again. Let's see, our interns are here, so shout out to the Charter School for Applied Technologies. We have two interns
Hmm.
with us, Nolly and Lauren, and that's very exciting. And I'll, actually that is a great thing to introduce people to all the jobs that are available in real estate. And
Yeah.
I'm going to take a moment to say how exciting it is. So we've used the phrase all the time that there are 17 people involved in a real estate transaction, right?
Right.
Like attorneys, home inspectors, banks, realtors, the pizza delivery service that brings your pizza on closing day, all those kinds of things. We're actually, next week is our field trip, where not only the students that we have, but students in other related fields. Forbes Capretto, a very well respected builder in our area, is hosting about a dozen students from the school, and we are going to their model home. And then after that, we tour two other properties that are in various stages of construction. And we talk about all the other jobs involved, because when we talk about those 17 names, usually I'm talking about existing homes. But think about all the jobs there are in even building a home, right? You've got site planners, you've got architects, you've got designers, electricians, plumbers, woodworking, detail, finishing, tile. I mean, there are so many jobs that are involved in the real estate industry, and to let high school students see what opportunities are out there that they might not even be aware of, I think is great. So I really enjoy being a
And
part
I think we're 20% of the economy, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
true? About
Yes.
20%?
Yep. Right around 20, 22, I believe. So yeah,
That's a big deal. You're
it
kind of a
is.
big
It
deal,
is.
Avery, Realtor Avery. You're kind of a big deal.
But it's exciting. And so if you are thinking about real estate, there are so many different ways to get involved: marketing,
Right? I thought
advertising,
you were gonna
photography.
I thought you were gonna say you were excited because you had a chance to talk to your furnace repair person, and you asked your furnace repair person, what are the last four houses you've been to before coming to see me? Where are the other four places you've been that had furnace issues? Maybe those are people I need to talk to. Because I was talking to someone else just within the last 24 hours who's had someone come over to look at their roof, and the roof company said, you're the fourth person on this street that's this month that's called me about blah blah blah. So it's to that point of when we are talking to these other people, what are we asking those questions?
Right.
Why not?
Yes.
Why
No, I
not?
think that's and when they get here, I
Don't
will
really ask
definitely
it.
approach,
Right.
give them
All
some
right.
cards.
Get the cards out.
Yes.
And you might, now you've got a conversation, you got a relationship going with this guy, this gal, and then you're probably going to be talking to somebody who needs some roof work over the next 6 months, right? So
Right.
this guy scratched your back, you get to scratch them right back. That's
Yes.
one hand washes the other. It's beautiful. That's
Yes.
the magic.
Yeah.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
that is something, yeah, just seeing if he was here. As realtors, right? We also get asked for recommendations all the time. Hey,
Mhm.
you sold us this house and we love it. We're happy. Maybe we're new to the area. Now we want to upgrade something. Like, who do
Yeah.
you recommend as a plumber, electrician, handyman, roofers? Like, in this business, we do know a lot of vendors. Most of us were involved in our chambers of commerce. We're involved getting to know other people. And so as a realtor, people are asking you your opinion, your advice all the time of who you've worked with. Don't you find that, Chuck, in your office? Agents are asked all the time,
All
who
the
do you
time.
know? Who do you like? Who does a good job? Who comes highly
Right.
recommended?
Mm-hmm. And that's often a common theme in, online social media groups, threads, agent needs. I might be working in an area that I don't really know all the local, professionals in that area, right? New York State says I have no problem, Chuck, with you selling real estate over here, and I can do a great job. But if I need someone to take a tree down way over on the east side of Rochester, I'll ask all my real estate buds.
Yes.
That's all.
Yeah. We've helped agents make pages on their website, vendors I've
Right.
used,
Mhm.
we have pages like you can easily create a page, all the utility information, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm closing. I need to make some phone calls. How do I do it? Or I need to jump on some websites, and we have
Yeah.
active links to the different utility companies. Same thing with contractors, service providers. Agents can be a good resource for that.
Along those lines of, can you have someone everywhere? Not really. You can't be in relationship with every roofer in Western New York. You can't, right? But you got a network you can reach out to. You can rely on others for information to help you through whatever it is you're trying to get accomplished, right?
Yes.
And I do that all the time, every day. Like this morning on the way in, we were talking back and forth about our show and the content, what we're going to talk about. And this is a week where we're talking about stats and data, and how do we know the stats? How do we know the data? And is it enough to know how many houses are currently available on the market, how many houses went independent, how many houses sold for this much over? Like, that information is very it's very important. It's very important to know, and it's fairly easy to look up. It's really not that big of a challenge to get that data. But as realtors, real estate's not just it's fluid, right? That it's not simply just check these. We don't go to our listing appointments and say, here's 10 questions. How do you check these 10 check the boxes? And depending on which boxes you check, that's going to tell us how everything's going to work out. It doesn't work that way, right? And we have to know all these other factors that are going to be influential in the process that we're about to go through. But it's often too much. And there are people that do just that, right? They're called economists. They're called analysts. I mean, think of it, Lawrence Yun, right? The economist with NAR. He is hired just to do that. And he's super smart, and he analyzes a ton of data, and he's got all this experience, and he does just that. He's not out showing houses and helping people and doing, he says, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'll provide that value to the realtors of the world, okay? Because it's a full-time job just to do that. And so what I wanted to share this morning, one of the tools that I use, I had it on my way in this morning, and I'm going to take this one out. I'm going to add a new one. And I'm a big fan of Housing Wire. So they have a super sweet, I think they have a really great YouTube channel here. And I'm going to scroll through a little bit of it and kind of show you. And this, I have it set to the videos tab. You can change it over to the all tab. But every morning I go in and I put him on, and he gives me an update for what I should be thinking about in the broader economy and how that is going to affect my real estate business. So, and frankly, I can't do what he does. I can't do what he does and do what I do. And he's not trying to do what we do, right? Stay in your lane, get a tool, get a resource like this, and follow it, and you'll get so much value from it. He this morning, the thing he was really talking about, the 10-year treasury. Right now, we're all trying to predict what's going to happen in 2025, with the election, and once the change of office and on January 20th, what's going to happen, right? Your clients want to know. Right now, we're preparing clients to be ready. In many cases, we would love it if they wanted to list in November, December, January. But in many cases, we're talking to people that really are going to be ready to list in February or March of 2025. And Logan Motoshami has models built out that crunch all this data and make way better predictions on what those behaviors are going to be and what those results are going to be. Way better predictors than we can do ourselves as realtors. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of these resources. He's really, really fantastic. Last no, it wasn't last Friday, 2 Fridays ago, Lisa, when we had our peer groups on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
My peer group leader is Lisa Comito, Lisa Comito or Comita, I think it's Comito, from New Jersey, and she is the president of her board there in New Jersey. And they had an event, and they had Logan as a guest at their event, and she hosted a panel with him and stuff. And and he's great. I think I don't know, have you ever watched the show before? Have you ever seen Housing Wire and Logan do his thing?
No. And that's what I love about this, not being called out on what I haven't watched.
I'm asking because I'm saying you should watch it. And then,
right. No, that's what I love is finding out what other people are listening to. What are you watching? I put a little comment on our Facebook chat, like, what podcast do you listen to? And I think, because we sometimes, like, yes, real estate is local. And what you talked about, we have to know for our current buyers and sellers, what's happening right now, what's the competition if you're looking to list your property. But as realtors, we also need to think much more broadly, and we need to be getting our information. We need to be listening to people like the various speakers on Housing Wire. In the morning, put that, I mean, almost everybody nowadays, you can be listening to something on your way to work, right? You can have, when one of my kids is home visiting, I hear him, he's got his phone, he's getting ready in the morning. He's got his cell phone with him. He's listening to a podcast, usually something on history or news, because that's what he enjoys. And I can hear him walking around the house, and he's got his phone with him, and he's not watching TV, right? He's listening to a podcast. He's listening to a timely podcast about what's going on. And as realtors, we have that same opportunity to listen to those thought leaders about what's going on. We both had our VIP Champions Clubs events here locally yesterday. To hear someone like Hadi Hannah talk about what's going on, not only in our 13 states, but just like you were talking, how does the mortgage rate, people hear rates are changing. The rate is not the rate for everything, and how that's tied to the Fed. I go back to one of our MCs who has since retired. He used to just say, well, watch the gas prices. If the rates move with the gas prices, you'll be. And so now I do know, hey, prices are down, rates are good. It's kind of interesting what's tied together. But paying attention, listening to people who, like you say, Chuck, that's their whole job. Our job is to sell houses, and our job is to listen to experts and take that information in. Sure. And listening to people, getting the ideas of other people to follow, I think is great. Sometimes I listen to real estate podcasts that are all about sales and marketing, and that's great because that does help in the day-to-day job. But listening to the economists, listening to the people who can make it good for us as realtors and good for us to explain. I love our chief economist from Leading RE. I think she's fantastic. She does a monthly Zoom video program. I like to listen to her, Marcy Russell, every month. And she talks about how the global real estate economy is. And that's fascinating too.
I think we're going to be getting the updated report, right, for 2025 pretty soon. So I'm excited for when that comes out. I actually looked this morning to see if it was out yet, and then it wasn't. So I'm thinking over the next few weeks, they'll be releasing the prediction for 2025. So
what I also love, not to slightly interrupt, I love when not only do they talk about the predictions for next year, but I love when they do that little recap, like, okay, last year at this time, we thought this was going to happen, and here's what actually happened. Right. Like, let's see how we did. And then, and I love how, again, the different podcasts, the different people who will take, here's what the home builders said, here's what NAR said, here's what the mortgage banker said, here's what, and no one says exactly the same thing. Right. No one has the same crystal ball. Everyone has their own crystal ball, and it's slightly different.
Well, everybody, you make predictions, but we're not objective predictors, right? Everyone has their own confirmation biases that they apply as a filter over their own predictions. So, it's, and you don't have to be right all the time, right? I mean, I mean, I say as professional realtor, I'm right more often than I'm not right. But every once in a while, I'm not right. And usually when I'm not right, I'm happy that I wasn't right. Like, you ever sit with your client and say, listen, I would so love to be wrong on this one. Like, I would love it. That'll be great for you. It'd be great for everybody.
Yeah.
But we're right more often than not, right? Of course.
Yes. Yes.
I was going to do a quick share with the Monroe County data.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, because we are talking about data, right? And let me go
Yes.
back up to the top. So this more for the realtors watching. What the heck? I just had a pop up on my screen. Let me turn that off. We'll start back up at the top here. Monroe County, New York. I can go on. We have this great tool on RPR. You can, on your dashboard, we can open up RPR, and then you go up to the top to do market research. And or I think it's just a research tab here. And then you hit residential market trends, and you put in the area you want to get the data for, and get your data. So here we are. This is and this is broad. This is the whole county. Monroe County, New York. We've got still have less than a month of inventory on the market, which is an extreme seller's market. Locally here, like my office is in West Irondequoit. West Irondequoit has 0.38 months of inventory on the market.
Wow.
Like literally a little bit more than a week, a little bit less than 2 weeks, like between 1 to 2 weeks worth of inventory on the market, right? Bananas.
So why in the world do people want to wait till what they think is spring,
I
right?
don't know,
like,
right?
I mean, there are buyers in every market.
Absolutely.
So the waiting for spring concept, first of all, when is spring for a real estate market?
I always say it starts on February 15th.
And I say it starts the day after the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Which this year would be February 10th. So we're within 5 days.
We're close. Okay.
But yeah, like why wait for spring? If the buyers are here today and they are chomping at the bit to get a house, like let them get your house, right? Like why wait until everybody puts their house on the market?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go at the market at the time when there's the most buyer market for your property. We moved from our house in Stafford to our house in Leroy. We moved in the middle of January. We signed closing documents on December 30th. And then we were in our house for another month, and we moved in the middle of January. And I'll never forget, it got up to 65 degrees on the Saturday before we moved. So we moved all of our boxes, all of our stuff, like to get my wife and I, we did all it ourselves. And then the next weekend it was cold and the movers came and moved all the furniture.
Yeah.
So that might happen. Moving in January.
You just never know. And you can't know. And you can't predict the weather for a day, 60 days out. We figure it out, right?
Yep.
You make it work.
We do. We figure it out. But looking at this new listings data for Monroe County, we got 825 properties. Right. Very good. One thing I noticed is, and I was looking for the sheet, which I couldn't, I think I might have to go back and do a different sheet and then maybe another show or something. But like when I looked, what I love about this is it shows the data going back 5 years, all the way back to October of 2019. And we're looking at, if I look at this, there's definite trends from year to year where you have the most listings and then you have the least listings. March and April, you got the most, and then here in January, you've got the least. And that flows pretty consistently. However, if you look, there is an overall uptrending line. We are seeing more properties coming available on the market. Maybe it's taking some of the market needs to take some time to adjust to the interest rates and what those finances look like as the interest rate goes through different cycles. It took us a little while to get off that between 3 to 4% interest rate period that we had for a couple of years as we were recovering from COVID. Now we're in more of a healthier, as far as the economy is concerned, a more healthier interest rate environment.
Yes.
One thing that I want to throw in was kind of interesting, is listening to Logan Mohtashami on the way in this morning, talking about interest rates and talking about, he has a whole show about trying to predict what could happen, what the next president's what it's going to look like while they're president. What's, what are they going to happen? And he's predicting that the interest rates are going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about this, but he's predicting interest rates are going to go down because the president needs interest rates to be lower to help inhibit the growth of the national debt. Because the interest rate environment affects the national debt. And the higher the interest rates are, then the higher the interest we have to pay on the national debt, the harder it is to service that debt. So he's like, I think, and there's there's going to be some extra forces being put on interest rates to be lower, to help the next president's administration look better. So
okay.
I wasn't, and that's what you get from listening to a guy like Logan Montashami. Like he's thinking about that, 10 ways down the street, right?
Right.
Like we look at housing and we go, and people, the best answer, it depends. And they go, well, what does it depend on? Well, it could depend on this or it could depend on that. We know 10 ways down the street to answer that question, why it depends for what could happen with your house. He knows 10 ways down the street, what could happen, different ways. It could depend on those things. And those things are going to affect your clients in 2025 and 2026.
Right.
So,
right. And I think, and it's those unknowns in this environment that we've had for the last little bit, right? Like in October, things got very good, at least for Howard Hanna and our company footprint. October was a fantastic month, right? So we see things moving up. You have all the people who, for whatever personal reasons, their mindset was, and I know that you've heard it, I know it's been said by, plenty of people to our agents, we're going to wait until after the election, right? Let's wait until after the election. They had all kinds of reasons of what they were waiting for, but they waited and now they're ready, right? So now, again, going back to, you can tell we still need more inventory. We still have more people who want to buy. Now's the time to really look at that. Yeah.
So quick look here at active listings. This is in the month of October. 506 properties were active. Look at our median dollar per square foot. Maybe a little disappointing for you, Lisa. Only $160 per square foot.
It is surprising. And you've got just single family homes, right?
Yeah. No, well, this is single family plus condos, townhouses.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Oh, that's fine. But we don't have commercial or vacant land in there.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No. But true story. I mean, I'm in the Buffalo market, right? I was there last weekend looking at properties, and I see what you're talking about. I get it. So, and then, well, like I just said, who knows what's going to happen with the interest rates? This, economist Logan's predicting rates are going to be lower because the administration is going to be maybe artificially influencing.
But keep in mind, Chuck, and this is where, I think, and we'll see as it comes out, almost everyone I'm listening to is predicting rates to come down, right? But no one that I'm hearing is predicting them to go back to 3%. So rates are going to come down. They're not going to plummet.
Right.
Okay. And prices are going to continue to go up. So again, if you're playing a game between rate and prices will almost always outpace a rate reduction. So if you're waiting for the rate to come down, but what you're waiting to buy goes up, look at cars, right? Like car prices, car rates, you've got to look at both things. How is the rate doing? How is the pricing doing? And do I need a place to live today, or am I going to wait to get a better rate? If I need a place to live today, I'm going to get the rate today. Most people in the life of their house refinance 1 to 2 times. So don't be afraid to, as we say, marry the house and date the rate. You might refinance in 5 or 6 years, but refinance the house you bought at a price that was reasonable for your budget right now.
Sure. Agreed. Absolutely. Pending listings. What? $200,000. Pending listings October, 1,259 properties, 7 days. 100. This is a little strange. Pending. Oh, you know why? You know why this is so much lower, Lisa?
Why?
Because this is before the sales. Like this is based on the list price, right?
Yes.
So,
Right. This is
so this is
not,
the gap,
yes.
right? This is the gap between the list price and the sale price. That's why
Right.
these numbers are so much lower. But
Yeah,
again,
because once they close, you're going to see the bump up.
Exactly. So here you are. Here's your sold listings. Your median sold price at 255,000. Just over 548 properties. 548 properties. If you sold, what is that? Well, that's about 7,000 properties. Probably closer to 7,000 properties a year. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, in Monroe County. We have a smaller population than Erie County. I just looked it up before coming on the show. According to the internet, Erie County has a population of just over 900,000, 920,000 ish, and Monroe County's population was 700, just under 750,000. So we have a smaller, so there's going to be, less properties transferring, less properties listing, less properties pending, because basically we have a smaller population.
That makes sense.
I can't do anything about that.
No.
Month supply. This is bananas. I think when are we gonna have a conversation about adjusting the way we look at month supply of inventory and what type of market we're in? It used to be like 0 to 4 years was, or 0 to 4 months was a seller's market. 0 to 4 was a seller's market.
0 to 3.
0 to 3. 3 to 6.
3, 4.
The balanced.
Yeah, and 4 to
more
6
than 6 was a buyer's market. I mean,
you don't even remember that term, buyer's market.
Right.
Have you ever worked in a buyer's market, Chuck?
When I started, and actually, when I first got my license, for like the first 9 months, we were in a buyer's market. So, and I'm so glad I worked in a buyer's market.
Yeah.
So
if you've never worked in a buyer's market, talk to your manager. Like, we can all tell you war stories. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Everybody was telling me, Chuck, go get listings. And I was like, listings? I want buyers. It's a buyer's market.
Yeah.
So maybe someday, I think it might adjust. Like it might be, we might, instead of going to months, we might actually talk in terms of days. We might say 0 to 45 days or 0 to 60 days is a seller's market, and 60 days to 120 days is balanced. And if it's more than 120 days, it's a buyer's market.
Yeah.
I think we might.
I still think, and again, the market, I think you've even shown, just talking today about Monroe County, but we could dive deeper into all the towns and then price ranges.
Sure.
And then each market is unique and specific. So, how's, people say to us all the time as a realtor, how's the market?
Sure.
How's the weather? Well, where do you live? What time of day is it? I mean, look at us right now. Like, this is the time of year, like you need your coat in the morning and you leave it in your office because you forget it by the time you go home. It's sunny and 55. It feels great. But in the morning when it's 32 and frosty, how's the weather?
Right.
Well, ask me in an hour.
But any of those slides there on, RPR is great. We have that tool through both of our boards, and you can grab any of those slides, you can export them to a JPEG file or a PNG, or you can make a presentation out of it and you can share it with your peeps.
Yeah. And I think it's great too. RPR is national, right? So if you're a realtor here, Buffalo, Rochester, Batavia in the middle, and you've got someone who wants to buy a house here and they're looking to sell in Raleigh, North Carolina, you can pull up the data there and you can get a handle on, okay, what type of a market is it there? My sister in Omaha, if she asked me how's the market in Omaha, I could do some research and tell her a little bit about the market in Omaha. So RPR is a great tool for us as realtors to help anywhere in the country. I love that feature of it. We have access to our data locally very deeply, but with RPR, we have access throughout the country. Why are you laughing at me, Chuck?
No, I'm laughing. Like a couple of weeks ago, I used my scholarship to do my designation class.
Yes.
And in my class was, I can't remember his name now, Frank something. And he, I sent him a message in the class like, hey, I've got this podcast live stream. We'd love to have you as a guest. And I got crickets. But he started RPR.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, he So Randy, Randy Templeman was the instructor, and Randy knew who he was, and but he saw him. He didn't really pick up on his name. He actually started RPR, but before that, he started another website,
Wow.
Realtor.com. Yeah. So
Pretty cool.
It was a cool thing. It was I did write down his name, and I was going to try to message him, and then I tried to stalk him on Facebook, and I couldn't even find him. I've been ghosted.
That's why we need a production assistant, a guest scheduler.
Holly, where's Holly? We need you. We need you, Holly. So
all right, I'm gonna go fix my furnace now.
Go get your office heated up.
Yeah.
Keep your interns are freezing.
Hey, luckily, there's a good side and a bad side to having 4 furnaces for your building. Luckily, 50% of our furnaces are currently working.
Very perfect. So perfect.
I'm always glass half full.
Okay.
Good news, people. 2 furnaces are working.
All right. That's it. We're out. Final thought. Thank you, Lisa. Cheers, everybody.